It was a gray, rain-soaked Monday morning in London, the kind where the city seemed to sag under the weight of its own clouds. Detective Elise Morgan sat at her desk in Scotland Yard, nursing a lukewarm coffee, when her phone buzzed sharply, slicing through the hum of the open-plan office. The call was from a concerned neighbor in Notting Hill. Samantha Rivers, a 29-year-old software engineer, hadn't been seen in days. Her mailbox was overflowing, spilling flyers and bills onto the pavement, and her cat, a sleek tabby named Ember, had been mewling plaintively outside her flat's door for 2 days straight. Elise arrived at Samantha's flat within the hour, her boots squelching on the wet cobblestones of the affluent neighborhood. The building was a charming, ivy-clad Victorian, but an uneasy stillness hung in the air. The neighbor, an elderly woman with sharp eyes, let Elise in. "It's not like Sam," she said, wringing her hands. "She's always so particular. Loves that cat to bits." Inside, the flat was a snapshot of normalcy frozen in time. A set of keys rested on a polished oak table next to a stack of unopened mail. A half-finished cup of tea sat on the kitchen counter, its surface clouded with a faint skim of neglect. The living room was tidy, with a soft throw blanket draped over a velvet armchair. Samantha's laptop sat open on a sleek glass desk, its screen dark but humming faintly with life. Everything was in place, except for one thing. A yellow sticky note clung to the monitor, its edges curling slightly. Scrawled in hurried, uneven handwriting were 3 words that sent a chill down Elise's spine. "Don't trust him." No name, no signature, just those 3 words, sharp and ominous, like a warning carved in stone. Elise's investigation began immediately. She interviewed Samantha's colleagues at her tech firm, a cutting-edge startup in Shoreditch. Her boss, a wiry man named Daniel Carter, described Samantha as calm, focused, and brilliant, a rare talent. She had no enemies, no debts, no history of mental health struggles. Her life seemed as orderly as her flat. But there was one detail that stood out. Samantha had a boyfriend, Patrick Heller, a 34-year-old cybersecurity consultant with a reputation for being meticulous and reserved. Elise met Patrick at a sleek coffee shop near his office in Canary Wharf. He was tall, with neatly combed dark hair and a tailored suit that screamed quiet wealth. His demeanor was polished, his answers measured, almost too measured. "Samantha's been under a lot of stress," he said, stirring his espresso with deliberate care. "Her work is intense. Maybe she just needed a break." Elise leaned forward, her sharp gray eyes locking onto his. She left her cat, Patrick, and a note. His spoon paused mid-stir, and for a fraction of a second, his calm facade cracked. "A note?" he asked, his voice tightening. She didn't tell him what it said. Instead, she watched his reaction, noting the way his jaw clenched, the way his fingers tightened around the cup. Something about Patrick Heller didn't sit right. Back at Scotland Yard, Elise enlisted the tech forensics team to examine Samantha's laptop. It was password protected, but the team cracked it within hours. At first glance, the device seemed unremarkable. Spreadsheets, emails, a few personal photos of Samantha hiking in the Cotswolds. But buried in a nondescript folder labeled Taxes 2019, they found something unusual. A series of encrypted files, hidden behind layers of complex code. It took the team 2 days to decrypt the first file. Inside was a custom-built software tool designed to track online financial transactions across multiple platforms. The data it revealed was staggering. A web of transactions funneled through a labyrinth of shell companies, each one a thread in a vast tapestry of financial deceit. At the center of the web was Roland Capital, a hedge fund led by Victor Roland, a charismatic but controversial CEO who had recently been accused of insider trading. The charges had been dropped due to lack of evidence, but whispers of his shady dealings lingered in London's financial circles. Samantha hadn't just stumbled onto something. She had been meticulously mapping an entire money laundering network. Her work was nearly complete, the final pieces of the puzzle falling into place. But the sticky notes warning loomed large in Elise's mind. Don't trust him. Who was him? And why had Samantha vanished? 2 days later, Elise noticed a shadow trailing her. It started subtly. A man in a dark coat lingering too long at a bus stop, his face half hidden by a scarf. She spotted him again at a crowded cafe near her flat in Camden, his eyes flicking toward her before he buried his face in a newspaper. That night, as she sat at her kitchen table reviewing case notes, an encrypted email pinged into her inbox. The subject line was blank. The message was short and chilling. Stop investigating. This isn't your fight. Forget Samantha. Elise's heart pounded as she forwarded the email to the tech team for tracing. The IP address bounced through servers in 5 countries: Russia, Panama, Singapore, Iceland, and Brazil, before vanishing into a digital void. Whoever sent it knew how to cover their tracks. But Elise wasn't one to back down. If anything, the message only fueled her determination. She tracked down Samantha's closest friend and colleague, Julia Tran, a soft-spoken data analyst with a nervous habit of twisting her bracelet. They met in a quiet park near Regent's Canal, away from prying eyes. Julia's face was pale, her eyes darting to every passerby. "Sam found something she wasn't supposed to," she whispered. "A back door in a financial database Roland Capital was using." She said it was massive, millions moving through untraceable accounts. She was scared, Elise. She told me Patrick had been acting strange, checking her phone, asking too many questions about her work. She didn't trust him anymore. Elise's mind raced. Patrick, with his cybersecurity expertise, would know exactly how to monitor someone's digital footprint. He could hack emails, track locations, even erase a person's digital existence. The pieces were starting to fit, but she needed hard evidence. With a warrant in hand, Elise led a team to search Patrick's flat in South Kensington. The place was impeccably clean, almost sterile, with minimalist furniture and a faint smell of cedarwood cologne. But in the basement, hidden behind a locked door, they found something that made Elise's blood run cold. A private server, its lights blinking silently, running encrypted software that even the tech team struggled to crack. After hours of work, they accessed the server's contents. Among the files was one labeled June 14th, Confession. Elise's hands trembled as she clicked play. Samantha's voice filled the room, shaky but resolute. "I think Patrick knows. He came home early today, caught me working on the Roland files. I told him about Roland Capital, thinking he'd understand, but he got angry, told me to stop, said it was too dangerous. He's been watching me, I'm sure of it, checking my laptop, my phone. If anything happens to me, it's because of Patrick. Tell Elise Morgan. She's the only one I trust." Samantha knew Elise. They had crossed paths years ago during a cybercrime case, where Elise's tenacity had left an impression. The recording was a lifeline, a breadcrumb Samantha had left behind. Elise felt a surge of responsibility. She had to find her. Patrick was arrested that night. In the interrogation room, he sat stone-faced, his lawyer at his side, refusing to speak. His silence was deafening, but Elise wasn't done. Days later, a package arrived at Elise's desk, wrapped in plain brown paper, with no sender's name. Inside was a USB drive, its surface scuffed as if it had been handled in a hurry. Elise plugged it into a secure laptop and opened the single file it contained, a comprehensive digital map of Roland Capital's laundering network. The data was meticulous. Dates, amounts, account numbers, shell companies spanning Europe, Asia, and the Caribbean. Samantha's work was a masterpiece of investigative precision, enough to bring down an empire. Elise presented the evidence to a grand jury. The fallout was immediate. Headlines screamed of the Roland scandal, and Victor Roland was arrested in a dramatic raid on his Mayfair penthouse. Several board members were implicated, their carefully curated reputations crumbling overnight. The financial world reeled as regulators scrambled to trace the dirty money. But where was Samantha? 3 weeks later, as rain lashed against the windows of Scotland Yard, a frail figure walked into the station. Samantha Rivers, her hair cropped short and dyed blonde, looked exhausted but alive. She collapsed into a chair in Elise's office, her hands trembling as she clutched a water bottle. "I had to disappear," she said softly. "Patrick was working for Roland. I found out too late. Julia helped me stage it. New identity, a safe house in Dorset. I couldn't come back until the evidence reached you." Elise leaned back, relief washing over her. "You saved lives, Samantha." Samantha's eyes glistened. "You believed me." The aftermath was swift. Patrick Heller was sentenced to 25 years for conspiracy, obstruction, and attempted murder. Victor Roland received life imprisonment, his empire dismantled. Samantha testified in court, her voice steady as she exposed the inner workings of Roland Capital's schemes. She later joined a task force dedicated to combating corporate cybercrime, her brilliance now serving a greater purpose. Elise Morgan was honored by Scotland Yard for her relentless pursuit of justice. She kept the sticky note, "Don't trust him," framed on her office wall, a quiet reminder of the case that had tested her resolve. It was more than a memento. It was a testament to the power of a single, small message to unravel a web of lies. Sometimes, the smallest truth could shine the brightest light. This expanded version adds depth to the characters, setting, and stakes while maintaining the core plot and tone of the original. It includes more vivid descriptions, internal thoughts, and additional scenes to create a fuller, more immersive narrative. Let me know if you'd like further tweaks or a different direction.